Hi, I'm Miriam Bear.
I'm Chris Bear.
And we're from Keto Chow. And Keto Chow is our meal replacement shake. And with Keto Chow, you add your own fat. And so today we just wanted to talk about what fat to add and what we mean by add your own fat.
Yeah, so one of the key features of Keto Chow is that the fat is not included. Now, some people see that as a negative or a bug. We see it as a key feature. It's one of the design elements. Mm-hmm. And the reason it's like that is so that you are able to add the amount of fat that you want to use, and you're able to add the type of fat that you want to use. And so that's one of the ways that Keto Chow is customizable. You're able to hit as few as 200 calories a shake, mm-hmm. or you're able to go up to 1,000 calories a shake. On the back of the label, you'll find 3 columns with the nutrition information. The first one is how many calories there are in just the powder all by itself. Then you have an example of what happens if you add, say, a half cup of heavy cream, and what happens if you add, say, a quarter cup of avocado oil. Now, we do get some people who are like, oh, this has too many calories in it. Mm-hmm. It doesn't. You're able to add as much or as little as you want. Mm-hmm. It's completely up to you. So the amount that you add, that's determined by how many calories you want. And the easiest way to determine that is we have a calculator on our website that you type in how many calories you want a day. It divides it by 3, and that's how many you get per shake. So say you put in 1,800 calories, it would divide that by 3 and give you 600 calories per shake. Then it will tell you, okay, so based on 600 calories a shake, you are going to add this much fat. You're able to select whether you want it measured in grams, milliliters, tablespoons, fluid ounces, cups. There's a bunch of different measurements. And then there's also a slider that allows you to select whether you want it to be in all heavy cream, or if you want to use all oil or butter. And the reason for the difference between those two is you use different amounts. Oil and butter, because they have less water in them, you use less of it to get the same amount of calories rather. You also get fewer carbohydrates with them. So we wanted to go over which type of fat to use as well. So most people, when they're just starting off, heavy cream is a good one to start with. It tastes very good. And if you don't have a problem with lactose or dairy, it's a good option. It does add some carbohydrates, usually around 3 or 4 net carbs per meal, depending on how much you add. Now, you also have the option of using avocado oil, which is another good option because it has no net carbohydrates. Some people want to know, can I use olive oil instead of avocado oil? You can. Olive oil generally has a stronger flavor, which some people like and some people don't. I personally have noticed that I like the flavor and consistency of avocado oil if I mix it with a blender, specifically an immersion blender, rather than just shaking it up in a blender bottle. Whereas with heavy cream, you can just shake it up and it just mixes like a dream. But then you get into some of the more esoteric fats. We discovered that you can, if you use warm water and you use a blender or you use a blender bottle and you use melted butter or melted coconut oil, you can actually mix up Keto Chow using those. Now the oil, the butter, so the coconut oil and avocado oil, you would think, well, isn't it going to leave a slick on the top? Aren't you going to, like soup?
Like a big old fat on the roast.
Big old thing, yeah. It doesn't do that. And the reason it doesn't do that is because we use a fiber called acacia gum. It's also known as gum arabic. It acts as an emulsifier. It allows fat to mix with water, which is kind of a cool thing. It also has some additional benefits. We spoke about those in a previous video that we did about all of our different ingredients, but the short version is acacia gum, although it is a fiber, although it is a carbohydrate, your body cannot metabolize it and break it into glucose, but the bacteria in your intestines can metabolize it, and what they produce when they metabolize it is short chain fats. Of those, you have butyrate and other short chain fats. Your body can use butyrate. Your gut lining will use it up, and it will actually even produce beta hydroxybutyrate from that.
Which is ketones.
It's a ketone. So even though it is carbs, it is a total carb on the label, your body is not converting it into glucose. It's actually turning it into fat and ketones, which is really cool. So anyway, yeah, with the back at the ranch, with the butter, coconut oil, avocado oil, whatever oil you're going to be mixing it with, you aren't going to get a separation up at the top as long as you mix it up really well. And that's why with butter or with coconut oil, we recommend using warm water and having the fat melted. Then once you've mixed it up, you can use either a blender bottle. You can't use hot water if you're going to use a blender bottle because it'll build up pressure.
And then go psh.
It'll pop the top open and spray you, usually right in the middle of shaking it. So you just use slightly warm water, just enough to keep the fat from solidifying.
Yeah, keeps the butter.
Yeah, the butter or the coconut oil. Then you shake it up, or you blend it in a blender, or you use an immersion blender. And once it's mixed, you can then, if you want to, refrigerate it. You can pour it into blender bottles or other containers. I know people who use mason jars. And it will not separate even when it's refrigerated if it was properly mixed. Now with flavors such as chocolate mint, mocha, and chocolate peanut butter, those have cocoa powder in them. And the cocoa powder, when heated in Keto Chow, will separate by density. So you'll end up with cocoa powder at the bottom, but you shake it up and it just mixes right back in. It's not the fat that's separating, it's the cocoa powder. And so it's actually kind of funny. You'll have lighter, denser, really dense. But again, you just shake it up and it's fine. So those are the fats that we recommend. The ones that we don't recommend, we get a lot of people wanting to know, can I use milk? Milk has really a lot of sugar in it. We have a page on our website, can I use whipping cream or half and half instead of heavy cream? The short version is, so on the page there's a table that shows how many carbohydrates for every 400 calories, just to kind of level things out, there are in each of them. Skim milk is the worst because it essentially has no fat. There's 58 grams of carbohydrates for every 400 calories. 2% milk is 38 grams. And whole milk, which you think whole milk has a lot of fat, there's still 31 grams of sugar for every 400 calories that you get in that. When you switch to half and half, it's better, it's 13. But even just regular whipping cream brings it down to 4. And heavy whipping cream brings it down to 3.3. The only way to get better than that is to go with butter. By far, in my personal opinion, I think butter is the best for doing Keto Chow. It has a superior fatty acid profile. You can use ghee if you want to, which is just kind of, it's butter that's had the water and the protein taken out. There's no metabolic advantage for using butter. Ghee. It just costs more, and well, that's about it. It costs more.
If people are allergic to the protein, wouldn't they want to use ghee?
If you're allergic to the protein, there's still a trace amount, and you probably wouldn't want to use ghee. If you can use ghee instead of butter for whatever reason, then it works. And again, as far as butter goes, you don't have to use grass-fed butter. If you choose to use grass-fed butter for whatever reason, maybe you like the flavor better, by all means, that's entirely your choice. But do not feel like you have to use grass-fed organic butter. I don't see any metabolic advantage or any additional, it won't enhance a ketogenic diet by doing those. Butter in and of itself is so much better than just about anything else you can use. Then comes the question, what did you want to say?
I was just going to say, there are some butters that have butter flavoring added.
Yes.
And so look on the back of your butter and see what it says. If it says ingredients, sweet cream and salt, or just sweet cream, then you're good. But if it has sweet cream and butter flavoring, then they've added something to it, or coloring. Like, they shouldn't have to add anything to it.
It should not have anything else. And then comes the question, should you use salted butter or unsalted butter?
It's whatever flavor preference you like.
If you prefer it a bit saltier, salted butter works well. Salted butter stores better. Better butter.
Better.
And for that matter, butter in and of itself freezes extremely well.
Yeah.
Keeps forever, and it's generally cheaper than most other options per calorie. But yes, you should only see at most 2 ingredients on your butter. But yeah, did you want to talk about anything else with the fat of your choice?
We know a couple people have tried cream cheese, like in the raspberry cheesecake.
That's true.
So that you could use. You'd have to look at how much fat is in there and see.
For that matter, we know people that have done peanut butter.
Yep, peanut butter.
Some peanut butter, or even all peanut butter. It does add a lot of carbohydrates.
You could probably use almond butter too, but it would just depend on how much fat is actually in the almond butter.
It tends, both of those tend to add a lot of carbohydrates. We do know people who have used a blender with an avocado, an actual
a full
avocado.
avocado, and that's yummy too. So you just have to figure out, the whole thing with Keto Chow is you have to do a little bit of math and figure out how much fat you want so that you can use it. And
but it is really flexible. Use the fat of your choice in the quantity of your choice. So,
and feel free to play with it. If you feel like you've got it figured out and then you're dropping weight or feeling good and then all of a sudden you're not, try changing the fat a little bit more, but make it higher or lower and change things up. Because a lot of times, once you figure out what works, then you have to change it. So
that's true.
It's just how it is in life. So thank you for being with us today. We will see you later. We'll go ahead, and if you guys have any more questions about the fat of your choice, in the comments, go ahead and ask us a question, and we can do a follow-up video. We can answer those questions, and we're happy to talk to you today.
Yep, thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Bye.